Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to talk about patrolling. What is patrolling? Patrolling is walking with your friends tactically, doing it tactically. Everybody's favorite thing to do. Be tactical. All right, so why would we patrol? We could patrol for a security patrol. That's going to be to deny the enemy the ability to stage for an attack just outside the wire. So we're going to be leaving the area that we've actually secured, going outside the gate, outside the security zone, outside the checkpoint, and patrolling the immediate area to make sure it is secure in a security patrol. We could be doing a resupply patrol. Okay, we need stuff, and it's not here, so we have to go somewhere, get the things, come back with them. Resupply patrol. All right, recon patrol. We don't know what's going on out there, and we can't use Google Maps to see it. So we're going to send some dudes out there. Those dudes are going to go out there and they're going to hang out. They're going to look, they're going to listen, they're going to see, they're going to call back on the radios, or they're just going to come back afterwards and tell us what was going on out there. Okay, we could have an escort patrol. We might need to move personnel, family members, women, children, leadership, old people, injured people, non-combatants. People that aren't going to be trigger pullers might need to move from one place to another place, and we're going to have to escort them on that movement. Okay? A contact patrol. Maybe we want a gunfight. We're walking around super tactically to get into a gunfight. That would be a contact patrol. Okay? Or we might be moving to an objective, right? We are here. We're going to go somewhere to do something, and as we go from here to that place where we're going to do that thing, that's a patrol. Okay, so it's just moving tactically. All right. While you're moving tactically, you are playing a game of hide and seek with other humans, and the winner lives and the loser dies. So don't get seen. Noise and light discipline. Shut your little mouth. Don't have gear be jiggling, shaking all around. Don't have any reflective surfaces. Don't be shining your flashlight at night. Noise and light discipline are super duper important. All right? If you get seen, you're going to get shot. If you get shot, you're probably going to die. Try not to die. Caveating off that, we want to minimize the trail we're leaving. If somebody's tracking us, we want to minimize their ability to track us, and we want to minimize the information they get from tracking us. Okay? So no smoking and ashing, leaving cigarette butts, plumes of smoke, the glow of a cigarette. That's a no. If you're dipping onto the ground, they're going to be able to track that. You have to dip into a bottle, or arguably just don't fucking dip, you little nasties. Okay? Sunflower seeds is another common one. If you're spitting sunflower seeds out, they're going to be able to follow that. You need to secure that in a bag or a pouch or something. When you're eating and you're creating trash, you need to pick that trash up and take it with you. You need to not leave shit all over the ground. And to a lesser degree, but still, when you're walking, don't just be like stomping all over the thing and breaking branches and digging your feet into the dirt and stuff. Have some effort to minimize the trail you're making. Okay? And the flip side of that, you need to be looking for those bad guys, looking for those enemy combatants. And you need to be scanning for enemy combatants. You need to be watching your step. You need to be making sure you can see your friends, and you need to be passing any commands along, okay? So you need to have a systematic scan that you're doing while you're walking, right? You need to look near, you need to look far, you need to look left, you need to look right, you need to look behind you, whatever that looks like. If there are certain threats that are, at a higher level, if you're in a minefield, you're going to be looking near, looking left, looking near, looking right, looking near, looking far, looking near, looking behind you, because every step you take, you're going to want to not step on a mine. If you're like out in Wyoming, where you can see for fucking 30 miles, you're going to spend a lot of your time scanning the horizon, seeing if you can see anything silhouetting or moving way off in the distance. If you're in the jungle, triple canopy jungle, where you can hardly see 5 feet in front of you, you're going to be spending a lot of your time making sure you have eye contact with your teammates and aren't losing anybody. So whatever is priority is going to take precedence, but you want to have a good essay of what's going on around you. All right? Don't just be in your head singing a Britney Spears song, thinking about how your feet hurt. fucking pay attention. Okay. Security. Whenever you stop for any reason, which is going to happen frequently, leadership's going to need to assess the situation. Plans are going to have to be made. Pace count's going to have to get checked. Maps are going to have to be references. Compasses are going to have to be used. There's going to be times where the patrol stops for a moment without being told. Every single person, every single rifleman, all on their own, is going to push out a little bit, a couple steps, find a bush to hide behind, find a rock, find a tree, find a little depression in the ground, a little shallow area you can lay down in. Get down, lay down, get in the prone, get on a knee, pick up a general sector, and look and observe and be still and be quiet. Put yourself in an advantageous position and observe your sector of security without having to have somebody come around and daddy tell you exactly what to do. Do that on your own. Again, anytime you stop, push out a little bit. Get behind something. Get some cover and concealment. Pay attention. Don't make a bunch of noise. Drink some water if you need to drink some water. Adjust some gear if you need to adjust some gear. But have a positive security posture. Okay, next we'll be talking about formations. Okie doke. Formations. So while you're on your super tactical friend walk that we're calling a patrol, you're going to need to position yourself in a strategic manner, not just be all gaggle fucked about willy-nilly, however you see fit. Okay? There are several formations, depending on where you come from and what training you have. I'm going to go over some very basic ones, and in my opinion, if all you knew is these, you'd be just fine able to move through any environment as you need to. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about today is a wedge. A wedge is great. It's used in open areas. If you don't know which direction you're going to take contact from, it's awesome because it has strong firepower in all directions, right? We have 3 guns that can shoot to the front. We have 3 guns that can shoot to either direction. And we have 3 guns that can shoot to the rear. And it also has a lot of open space for that 4th gun to come up and get in the fight wherever they need to, however they need to, very rapidly. Wedge is used a lot of times for the point team in the front of a larger movement, and you could even utilize wedges off on the flanks, especially if you have good open terrain for flank security of a larger platoon-size movement. Yep, that's a wedge, very maneuverable. If you only had 3 people, this would be your 3-person wedge, and if you had a 5th person, they would go right there. All right, like a diamond with your leader in the middle. You want to position the leader in the middle of this formation so he has good command and control of everybody. If you just had 3 people, your TL would be one of these 2 people. Take your pick. Alrighty, that's the wedge. The next formation that we're going to talk about is the column. The column was made famous, especially in the GWOT. It was used nonstop because we had a lot of urban patrolling. We were forced to move along roadways where there wasn't a lot of open terrain that we could utilize. So when you're in a column, you have a single file line and then another single file line staggered. So this is actually 1 man, 2 man, 3 man, 4 man, 5 man. Okay? And you stagger it so that everybody can shoot to either flank, right? He could shoot this direction, he could shoot that direction, so on and so forth. And actually, just like that, while you patrol down this avenue, if you're in an urban area, you're actually going to want to have this guy looking that way, this guy looking that way, so on and so forth. Because they're going to be able to see into the windows and doorways of these buildings much better than these individuals are. As I've already alluded to, column is used a lot of times when you have to travel down a particular trail or roadway, and you don't have the ability to utilize, vegetative terrain or more rural terrain than that, and so you're just getting the best dispersion as you can, and you're going to want to walk in whatever area is least likely to be booby trapped. Once again, in the GWOT, they love to booby trap the roads, try and blow up our vehicles, so we would walk just off the roads. If they're booby trapping the sidewalks, you would probably want to walk in the road itself. Avoid the booby traps. Okay. The next formation here is ranger file or single file line. A lot of times you're using this only when you are forced to, and the reason you would be forced to is restricted visibility or a need to have really strict command and control of your unit, right? If you've got a bunch of green guys or a bunch of civilians or women and children you're trying to keep track of, you're probably going to put them all single file. So everybody, anybody steps out of line, they're immediately going to say, hey, get back in line. In a tactical setting, you would use this at maybe at night, or if there was high smoke environment, or an extremely dense swamp or jungle or wood areas during a blizzard. Anytime you have extremely restricted visibility and you're at a high risk of losing somebody, best bet is to just single file it up and walk like you're in kindergarten. The last formation we're going to talk about today is online. Okay, online, and in this particular example, our point of direction is that way, right? So we're all online, walking, facing the direction of movement. You're using this either when you're already under contact or contact is imminent, and you're wanting to amass as much firepower as you can in the direction you are currently receiving contact from or expect to receive contact from. Okie doke. Next, I want to talk about dispersion. So everybody is roughly 10 to 15 meters apart, right? This distance here, 10 to 15, this distance here, 10 to 15, this distance here, 10 to 15, so on and so forth. The reason we do that is the average casualty radius of most man-packed explosives, be they landmines, grenades, rockets, etc., is 10 to 15 meters. So if everybody's 10 to 15 meters apart and an explosion happens, we're probably only going to take one casualty from that explosion. If we're all bunched up tight and an explosion happens, it could literally wipe out an entire team. To a lesser degree, but still very effective, that same concept applies to counter machine gun fire or any other sort of heavy weapons, right? We want to be spaced out so that the enemy is not able to have a mass casualty event very rapidly with a single explosion or a single machine gun burst. Okay? So same thing over here, right? These people need to be 10 to 15 meters apart. These people need to be 10 to 15 meters apart. So on and so forth. You guys get the picture. When you get to ranger files, a lot of times the visibility is so poor, which is why we're in a ranger file, that we're not going to have 10 to 15 meters. So we are going to default to being as far as we can, but still having eye contact with the team members in front of us and behind us. That way we do not lose any personnel. For a different reason, but similarly, a lot of times when you're up online, you're not quite a full 10 to 15 meters away from each other. Sometimes you are. If you're out in the middle of a wide open field or whatever, you can spread it out pretty good. But a lot of times terrain is limiting and command and control is limiting. So you start to tighten that up to maybe from 10 to 15 down to 5 or 10. MET-TC, terrain dictating. Okay. Last thing we're going to talk about with patrolling is reaction to contact. So if you get shot at without being told by anybody, crack, crack, bang, bang, whoever just got shot at yells contact in the direction of contact, and then the rest of the team is going to rush up so that you can get into an online formation, and you're going to begin to fire back, right? So if you're that point man and we take contact front, you're probably just going to take one step forward, hop into a knee or the prone, begin firing, shout out contact front. Everybody else is going to run up respectively, terrain allowing, terrain dictating, getting generally online as fast as they can, and begin to return contact. While you're doing this, your team leader, your squad leader, your patrol leader is going to be assessing the situation very rapidly. We're talking about 30 seconds or less, and then making a decision on what we're doing, whether we're going to be breaking contact or maneuvering on the enemy or pushing out of the kill zone, whatever the case is. Similarly, but just to drive the point home, if we were to take contact from any direction, it's the same way. In this example, we have contact left, so our leftmost element would have been receiving contact first. They're going to turn, face direction of fire, take a knee, get in the prone, begin to fire back, yell contact left. Everybody else is going to run up to their spots on line, respectively, terrain dictating, terrain allowing, begin to fire upon the enemy, and wait for follow-on commands. So, reaction to contact, without being told or instructed, you get online, and you begin to return fire. All right, that's patrolling, kids. I hope you learned something.